Hey guys, today I'm going to be sharing with you some tips and things that I learned along the way in AP Capstone seminar that will probably help you in the future. That way you don't have to learn things the hard way. And I guess you could call this your little survival guide. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first, I think one of the most important things is being updated with current world events and just knowing what's going on in your surroundings can help, especially with your research whenever you're going to make an essay or your PowerPoint or anything. That way you have a better understanding of what's going on in the world. So just being updated and being in the know of what's happening in the world around you just will really help when you're trying to especially when you're trying to decide what to research and what you should be looking up, because there's a lot of controversial topics that could be looked at, especially with today. A lot of places that people typically will be updated with current events would be social media, like Twitter, I guess Instagram. I don't have social media, which kind of it didn't backfire on me, but I just had to go elsewhere to find current events. Because I didn't have those resources available because I didn't have social media. But you can always look stuff up and make sure sources are credible, not biased. In class, you guys will talk about a lot of current events and dive deeper into those and just try to get a better understanding of what's happening today. That's really what we're doing, is trying to look at real world issues and try to find potential solutions for them. Number 2, so you have to be good with time management, especially now that you're going into maybe your junior or senior year of high school. Time management is a really big thing because everybody's so involved in a lot of activities, and sometimes you forget that you have to equally balance everything out. I mean, yes, you have to have priorities, but Capstone should be one of your, it should be pretty high up in your list, because you can't really blow off the class because it's kind of important. And especially if you're going in for 2 years and you can get that special certificate, that would really help. So it would help if you didn't slack off in this class. A lot of the times this year we had pretty decent deadlines. It would give us enough time to get things done. And a lot of us at the beginning struggled with procrastination and not taking the entire time period that we had to do things, instead of where we could actually think about things and make things good. But we all procrastinated, waited till the end, so it wasn't our best work because we crammed it all into the last second. So just because it seems your deadline is far away from now, you should use all of that time to do your work instead of waiting till the last second. Especially if you have a deadline for a word count on your essay, you can't write 800 words the night before. I mean, you probably could, but it wouldn't be as good as it would be if you were to space it all out and put some actual thought into it. So even though the deadline seems far away, it's really not. I think the class is pretty chill, but also kind of fast paced in a way, because we're trying to get things done. That way we have time to peer review and make sure we're good to go. Number 3, another big thing for this class is trying to put yourself in other people's shoes. We talk about the different perspectives that people have for every situation. So there's different perspectives or lenses that we have, which is there's social, political, economics, scientific, futuristic, ethical. Yeah, there's a lot of those. And so a lot of times, okay, especially when we're doing our team presentations and everybody's doing it, looking at the same situation from a different perspective, you have to consider everybody else's ideas are going to be brought to because once you're making your final decision, whenever you answer your research question, you have to consider all the different factors that play into it, and you can finally answer your question. Some things can help your argument and some things probably aren't as strong, so you just have to pick and choose what will help best. Number 4, another big thing that kind of goes in hand with the perspectives thing is understanding how all of that connects. So like especially when you're formulating your essay and you want it to like grow from the intro to body paragraph to body paragraph, like you want it to flow like really well. That way it doesn't seem all over the place, because you want to show how like all of your perspectives will connect with each other, and all your sources, how they connect to what your argument is. The end of your body paragraphs can like go back and prove your claims. So whenever you're making your essay especially, you just have to make sure you understand like, oh, this happens, but that can also be compared to like what happens over here, and like, oh, I have to find like a transition word to like build that into each other and explain why this can be this, or this causes this. Like, you just have to be able to see the connection there and like see how things are intertwined and like working together. Number 5. Another big thing that we learned this year was especially when we peer reviewed, we gave each other a lot of comments, and you just have to learn to give critical information. It can't just be like, oh, your essay sounded good, you can go on with your day. Like, you have to give specifics. I mean, yes, it's good to give positives, like little things that you liked about their essay, but you also have to give some like things for them to work on. That's why we call it constructive criticism, so they can work on it. And it helps because they'll have like a fresh set of eyes reading their paper, because if I'm being honest, like whenever, like especially me when I was working on my papers, it was just like mentally draining because I was reading the same thing over and over and trying to see if it fit good. So it really helps whenever you have somebody else's eyes looking at your paper, and when they can probably catch things that you didn't because you're reading the same thing all the time, and they can give you probably like new ideas, give you new directions to go in, and it really helps. Number 6, as well as you should be able to give criticism, you'll be able to take it. So when somebody's editing your paper or giving you comments, you can't take any of that to heart, even if it's like something negative. You just think about like the only thing that they're trying to do is make you better. So the only reason they're giving you these comments is because they see potential in you to make your paper better or your presentation better. They see room for growth, because there's always room for growth. So you have to be able to take that without like getting hurt or taking it to heart or like taking it the wrong way. Because everybody's going to be editing each other's papers, so we're all getting feedback. So you can't let yourself get hurt by that, because it really helps in the long run. Because like even if you look at your essays from like the beginning of the year towards like the end, like there's a lot of like significant improvement, because we're all used to like just, hey, can you read this real quick, tell me if it sounds right, or like, hey, just let me know what you think. Like, even if it's bad, then we could just go and fix it, and obviously there's the teacher who will help you. Number 7, another thing that we had this year was research trackers, and what that is basically like a table where it had like our hyperlinks and our citations for the source that we had, and it had like why this source matters, and like questions about it, like is it biased, how is it going to help, how does it connect, where are you going to put it in your essay, like just things. So that way we could have like, it's kind of like an essay outline, sort of like it's just a place to store all your information, so that way when you go to write, everything's a lot more easier. And so with that, a lot this year, I feel like a lot of people just didn't want to do it or struggled. I'm also guilty of that, because it's a lot, but like once you have it all your information in there, it like really helps with your essay, because you already have things that you need. And so that way, whenever you're going to write your essay, all you have to do is figure out how to flow it nice and easy. And you already have your MLA citations in there, so you just have to go and copy and paste whenever you do your works cited page. And the hyperlinks there, so in case you needed to find like a quote real quick from one of your sources, you just go to that. And then it helps like whenever you're establishing credibility in your essay, you already see like how biased the source is, if they justify the evidence correctly enough to support your claim. That's one of the biggest things, is just don't slack on your research tracker, because it really helps you. It's like one of the most important parts of it is the planning, the building. It's like the foundation, and it leads you to everything else. I think those are like the biggest things that I have for right now. I think those are the biggest things that I have for you guys, that I feel like things that I had to learn along the way, and like also I know some other people struggled with. So hopefully you can take these words into consideration and try to be your best version of yourself in this class this year. And I hope these words were helpful, because the last thing we would want is for you guys to fail Capstone for just not knowing something or not being aware, because a lot of people come into this class just not knowing like how things work and what the structure of the classroom is. And for the most part, it's really chill. You just have to do your work, which I guess, yeah, you could say that for any class, but still, like, this class was one of the most enjoyable classes, because like the environment was so great, and we had so many people like just helping each other, and everybody's always wanting to get better and do their work. And yeah, it just helped a lot. So you just have to be flexible with your classmates, and like you guys are basically like a team and like a family, just trying to help each other get to the top of your AP test. So I think that's all I have today. I'm excited to see you guys excel and get 5s on your AP tests.